Welcome back, everybody, to another shocking episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. That's right, today's story is going to help us learn a lot of valuable lessons. And this one kind of hits me personally because I see these individuals on the streets all the time. And I'm really tempted to just pull over, pull out the GoPro, let the hitchhiker in the car, and get some good stories and content for y'all. But then I remember every movie I've seen where the hitchhiker turns out to be a killer. Not willing to risk it, not one bit, so I just keep it moving. Stare at them in the rear view, some of them still looking at me thinking I was gonna pull over or something. But a lot of people do, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. You can go ahead and make your own decision. I'm just saying. Today's episode is gonna make you realize that a lot of things you see in the theaters isn't so much of a myth. It's got a lot of reality to it. And not to mention, we're gonna learn valuable lessons coming from the cell block as well. You ain't gonna believe what this guy did when he got in there. So, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is absolutely where you need to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, for this wild ride, unfortunately, we're traveling back down to Georgia. In October of 2024, a fateful encounter along Interstate 16 in Bullock County, Georgia, set off a tragic and deeply disturbing series of events. Bruce William Dupree, a 43-year-old man, was driving down the highway when he spotted 32-year-old Robert Brandon Keller hitchhiking. In an act of pure kindness, Dupree pulled his vehicle over to offer the stranger a ride. Keller, who was heavily under the influence of inebriants, got into the car, turning what should have been a routine act of highway goodwill into a horrific crime of opportunity. As they traveled, Keller violently turned on his benefactor. In a brutal carjacking attempt, Keller slashed Dupree's throat and inflicted multiple stab wounds. After the fatal assault, Keller dragged Dupree's lifeless body into the highway median, abandoned him there, and fled the scene in Dupree's stolen vehicle. The illusion of a clean escape did not last long. Shortly after the murder, Keller pulled up to a local convenience store, walked inside, and attempted to buy alcohol. His undoing came instantly when he tried to pay using cash that was visibly soaked in Dupree's blood, leading to his swift apprehension by law enforcement.
Please, man.
Get in the car. Can I have some water, man?
Watch out, man.
Move your legs.
I'm not gonna say it again. Move your legs, bro.
Move your damn legs.
Absolutely unreal. Keller turned out to be a killer hitchhiker that many people have talked about. And of course, my condolences go out to Dupree's family, man. He was just doing, like the article said, an act of pure kindness. Yep, I definitely will never, ever pick a hitchhiker up as long as I'm breathing. Not unless his vibes are like, radiating for me to do so. That's astronomically, if I were to guess, after this story, gonna be impossible. But it gets even crazier, ladies and gentlemen. When he gets into jail, you ain't gonna believe what takes place. All the way down to his sentencing. Listen to this. It says, while waiting trial at the Bullock County Jail, and hopefully I'm pronouncing Bullock right, but either way, the case took an even more bizarre and gruesome turn that drew national attention. When what appeared to be a severe psychiatric crisis, Keller used a plastic jail spork to completely gouge out both of his eyeballs and bit off a portion of his tongue. How someone could do that to theirself is beyond me, man. Even if you're trying to, get out of prison and take the whole crazy route, I still couldn't gouge my own eyes out, especially with the damn sport. State issued jank, man. No way. That is absolute. Oh, and I forgot he bit off a piece of his own tongue. I mean, shoot, I bite my tongue on accident just eating chips sometimes. It's like one of the worst pains on earth. Ain't no prison ride gonna make me want to chomp off a piece of my tongue, man. No way. But nonetheless, this story is absolutely wild. Can you imagine the COs walking in on a scene like that? Dude's eyeballs is on the ground somewhere. But he began claiming to hear voices and declaring himself a divine being, leading his defense team to later pursue a verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity. And to get kind of a better idea on the route that he might be trying to take, listen to this story that's strikingly similar. I hate to jump course here, but an inmate named Ryan Partridge in Colorado, who also gouged out his own eyes while in custody, but whose family successfully sued the county and won a multi-million-dollar settlement. Ryan Partridge's case was a tragic example of genuine, severe mental illness met with systemic prison neglect. But jumping back into Keller's case, even though they're similar but not exact, his situation ain't gonna have such a bright outcome. But like I was saying, Keller's defense team later pursued a verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity. However, Keller's attempt to use mental illness As a legal shield quickly unraveled, multiple correctional officers and jail staff testified under oath that Keller had explicitly confessed to them that he was faking the psychosis. In a damning testimony, a former investigator read directly from an official report, quoting Keller as saying that he didn't actually hear voices, but was staging the insanity and the horrific self-mutilation to cover his own tracks. Yeah, it just makes no sense to me why someone would do all that just to go ahead and snitch on themselves. But even if he didn't break everything down to the COs, it would come down to the psychologist. And this is what they had to say about old Keller. Court-appointed psychologist further dismantled the insanity defense, evaluating Keller and concluding that he did not suffer from a severe, persistent mental illness like schizophrenia. Instead, they testified that the extreme self-harm was a calculated response born of guilt and shame after the fact, and that he was fully capable of distinguishing right from wrong at the moment of the murder. Ultimately, the jury was unconvinced by the display of madness. In July 2026, Keller was found guilty on all 10 counts against him, including malice murder and armed robbery.
On October 14th of 2024, Mr. Dupree represented the best of us. He stopped to help somebody who he felt was in need. I feel that on October 14th of 2024, Mr. Keller represented the worst of us.
He was sentenced to spend the remainder of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. But the question here is, who really won? Yeah, I guess Keller didn't win nothing. He's doing life in prison, but this is the thing. Where is he gonna go in prison now that he's blind? He ain't got no eyeballs to look at nothing with. You think they're gonna put him in GP in a high-level 4 or 5 prison? Man, no way. Blind inmates are typically housed in medical dorms, specialized geriatric units, or protective custody blocks to shield them from the violence of the general population. And in Georgia, a life sentence for that individual, chances are, would have been exceptionally rough for him. Keller probably would have been taken advantage of in every which way possible. So his prison ride is definitely going to be, if I were to guess, a much safer one. I guess his story's like the old saying goes, it's in the eyes of the beholder. What do y'all think? Go to the mainline general population of some of the most dangerous prisons that Georgia has to offer with your eyes so you can see everything that comes your way? Or go to that safe, cozy medical dorm for the rest of your life, but you can't see nothing. You're blind now. Which route would you take, ladies and gentlemen? Me personally, I'd rather keep my freaking eyeballs. Yeah, I don't care about no geriatric ward, handrails, and canes for the rest of my life. No, sir. Rather see what's coming my way with a shank in my hand. I'm just playing, man. Hypothetically, once again. But either way, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed this wild ride of a story. And stay tuned. I got plenty more content coming your way, including a rude awakening of a courtroom sentence. And so be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. The only way to do that is by hitting that notification bell, setting it to all. And as always, until the next time, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.